Aha, I got you with some clickbait. I don't actually think Yu-Gi-Oh is dying. Hey guys, Otaku here, back with another Yu-Gi-Oh discussion-esque video. To start off, I want to apologize for only having one video up last week, and it wasn't really even like a video of me. It was showcasing my friend's deck profile. And not to mention that this video is probably going to be the only video I upload this week, and it's just simply because I've been pretty busy the last couple weeks, and hopefully I'm going to go back to doing at least 2 videos a week starting next week. But also, kind of a segue into the discussion today, I'm running out of like stuff to make videos on because I haven't been super engaged in the current format. By no means am I going to stop making Yu-Gi-Oh content, because I'm not quitting Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm just kind of like zoned out of the current format and like what's going on, simply because nothing's really changed. Snake Eyes is still very much the best deck in the format, probably more than ever, because as we saw at the last YCS, it was like a 60 to 70% dominancy. But as I'm sure you all have seen, there's 1,000 other Yu-Gi-Oh content creators that are all just going around saying that Yu-Gi-Oh is dying, or they're more talking about the problem with the current format. And just like the mechanics of the game we all know and hate, Yu-Gi-Oh as a game kind of goes through phases. I don't think Yu-Gi-Oh is dying by any means, but it's kind of on the downward slope of relevancy, simply because it's kind of been the same thing with no refresher for like the last 6 months. Hold on, when did Phantom Nightmare come out? February. Oh. Okay then. So yeah, the release of Phantom Nightmare in February is kind of when Snake Eyes really became dominant, because that was with the release of the Promethean Princess and Poplar. And this has been the longest 4 months of my life in terms of like, Snake Eyes has only been the top best deck for like 4 months. We dealt with Tier for like 6 and Kashtira for 6. Like, we're still not quite to that extent that Tier and Kashtira were around, but these 4 months have been very grueling, to say the least. But also the difference between Kashtira and Tier versus Snake Eye is that in the Kashtira and Tearlament format, the decks were progressively changing as the ban lists came around, because we were hitting cards that were making the decks very powerful, whereas in Snake Eye, we've just been kind of slapping them on the wrist. It's safe to say that despite banning Borreload, Link Karibo, and Baron, where I would argue healthy for the game in the long run, they didn't do anything to Snake Eye. Snake Eye has since adapted its end board to still be just as powerful as it used to be, just instead of 2 Omni Negates, it can either do 2 Hand Rips, or it can set up a Hope Harbinger, or just a handful of other things that just really, again, the deck is still incredibly powerful, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. I will argue that going against Snake Eye now versus when they had 2 Omni Negates is a lot easier, and it plays a lot healthier into breaking their boards, and there are a lot more decks that can kind of stand a better chance now that those 2 Omni Negates are gone. But I think it's safe to say we as a community are pretty done with the Snake Eye archetype. As I'm sure many of you have probably seen, there are many pro players in the Yu-Gi-Oh community that have kind of jumped ship for at least the current format to play stuff like Lorcana. And this is kind of a segue into another topic I want to talk about, which is tournament prizing. It is, of course, by no mere surprise that Yu-Gi-Oh does not really give out good prizing, or good prizing by the community's standpoint. And a lot of people are recently comparing our prizing to stuff like Lorcana, where Lorcana is just doling out really expensive cards and a fuck ton of product that can in turn turn into expensive product as prize support. But you also have to take in consideration that Lorcana is owned by Disney, which has a lot of money, but also Lorcana is the new kid on the block, which means they have to make a name for themselves more than just having Disney characters slapped onto the cards. So of course the prize support for the new upcoming card game is going to be appealing, so that way pro players from other card games will, you know, come on over. I think after Lorcana has been around for a few years, it's probably safe to say that the prize support will probably, you know, slim down a little bit and won't be as extreme as it is currently. But hey, I am willing to be wrong. I think in terms of the Lorcana community, I hope for them that maybe it continues to be a good payoff. But also at the same time, the Yu-Gi-Oh community specifically just really likes to complain about our prize support. By no means is our prize support ideal. We're getting a pretty basic-ass game mat that isn't even made of good quality. We're getting a deck box that looks generic as shit, and we're getting product of the set that is probably not that relevant anymore. Not to mention we're getting the Nintendo Switch, which is like 7 years old now, and Nintendo's already like announced the next console, or like they haven't announced it physically, but they've talked about that they are making it. Now, I don't think Yu-Gi-Oh needs to by any means have monetary prize support, but I do think it could be a little better than it is. But at the same time, our prize cards, something that even Lorcana gives out, are not playable. And that is something that a lot of people have complained about, but also they've complained about the other side of the spectrum at the same time, whereas back in the day, they used to be playable, but then people were complaining they were too powerful. Well, because they were powerful, they were, you know, worth monetary value that people could then turn around to sell the prize card to get money to kind of pay for the trip. But at the end of the day, again, the Yu-Gi-Oh community just kind of likes to complain. They're not happy with playable prize cards, non-playable prize cards, any sort of item that can be turned into monetary value, because as we know, Konami, at least for now, has no intent on actually giving out prize support in the financial form, which I do of course want to say that I don't have a problem with. I don't think Yu-Gi-Oh or any card game in general should have to dole out money when they're already losing money on these events. When they make these events, that Konami is losing money. They pretty much make no money from these events. They are simply there to promote to newcomers to play their game, so they sink that money with the expectation that hopefully they will make it back by selling product in the long run. But I am on the side of the argument that if someone's going to be doling out a lot of money for plane tickets, hotels, you know, entry fee, food, gas, whatever, to go to these big events like a YCS, the prize should kind of equate to it. They should be able to turn around and sell whatever they make, or they should have the ability to turn around and sell whatever they win to kind of pay for the long trip and all of the expenses. But the current prizing just doesn't do that. I have also been seeing people make the argument that if you're going to participate, you should be able to get some sort of participation entry award, essentially, that you can also turn around to sell to pay for yourself. I don't agree with that. I think that when you go to an event like this, you understand that there is the risk that you are just going to be sinking a lot of money into nothing. But at the same time, I don't think Yu-Gi-Oh players really understand. I think they've kind of gotten lost into the game and the concept of winning. And like, I don't know about you guys, but when I go to like regionals and all that, yeah, I want to win, but I kind of go for the experience, like just hanging out with my friends, being in the same room with hundreds upon hundreds of people that enjoy playing the same game, and just really just continuing to form that bond and that brotherhood of like with all my friends. Don't get me wrong, I am of course there to get my invite, or you know, just win the event. I am there to do that, but I'm not butthurt that I paid entry and dropped by round 4 or something like that because I sank a lot of money because I didn't win or to get anything that could help. I could then turn around to make my money back. I by no means do I want that. Another reason people think that the card game is dying is because Yu-Gi-Oh, especially post-COVID, has gotten like incredibly expensive. Now, I was by no means playing the game pre-COVID. That time is beyond me. However, I was buying cards and collecting cards still here and there. So I do kind of understand where card pricing was back in before COVID, and things have drastically changed. To start, all card games, not just Yu-Gi-Oh, had a big boom during COVID because we were all trapped in our homes and getting that stimmy money, and it was causing people to just feel like they had money that they really couldn't spend. And so they were turning around buying a bunch of sealed product, as I'm sure we all remember the Pokemon boom of 2021. But we also, of course, have the price gougers of people that realized during COVID that this stuff can make them money. So they are, of course, going to Walmart and Targets that can, you know, not have a limit, and they buy as much as they can, pull what they can, and sell these cards for an astronomical price. Now, yes, Yu-Gi-Oh has had its expensive periods. I have been told a dozen times that Teledad format was a very expensive time in Yu-Gi-Oh, but you all can't deny that, you know, post-COVID, things have gotten pretty crazy over time. And it's only with the release of Rarity Collection 1 and even Rarity Collection 2 that some of that's kind of started to calm down a little bit, but we still have our extremities. Although it has come down a severe amount, the Snake Eye deck is still like a $700, $800 deck, which is a lot more fair than the 1,000 plus that it was last time we talked about like the secondary market, but it's still up there. And kind of circling back to the original topic of why people are jumping ship, I think we're all just kind of tired of the format in general. Like I said a moment ago, Snake Eye is very dominant in the current format. It is just this overwhelming force that for many players and many decks, it just feels like you can't out, and even when you do, they crack back. Now, of course, the argument could just be get good, get better at the game, but some people just are here to have a good time, and they're sick of, you know, Snake Eyes ruining locals. But it is a card game. It is a competitive card game. You should understand the risk you are taking when you go to a competitive environment. And of course, to that, I have to say that if you are just tired of Snake Eyes, or you're just tired of playing meta like I personally am, just take a break, play some fun decks, play a different format. I don't know about you guys, but I have recently picked up Edison, and I am having a blast with Edison. I don't even currently know how to make any Edison-themed content, because I would absolutely love to, but I've just been having so much fun with Edison that I'm very tuned out of the current format. To really drive my point home, I'm going to this big 3v3 tournament at this event here that I have on screen, and that's really my last modern format event that I'll be going to at least until the end of Worlds. I, of course, will still be going to locals, and I'll be playing modern at locals, but I'm not going to any big events before Worlds after the event on the 30th. And I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with that. If you're tired of a format, create your own fun or just take a break. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I would even argue that creating your own fun or just taking a break is just a lot healthier for you as a person than going on the internet and complaining to 1,000 people that quite frankly don't care. But that's really all I have for you guys today, so thank you for watching me rant about the current format yet again, but also just, I don't think Yu-Gi-Oh's dying by any means. We're just kind of in a downward phase, and it probably, hopefully, will get better post-Worlds. But also be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Let me know what y'all are doing if you are taking a break from Yu-Gi-Oh! Or taking a break from the current format. And also, if you like this video, don't forget to leave a like and also subscribe if you're not already and you like competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Content. But with that, I'll see you all in the next video. See ya!